kick off the 2026 Global Aerospace Summit. Do we have any returning veterans from this event last year or previous? Me too. And last time out, I got to lead a few of the panel discussions. It was so eye-opening. I'm a journalist and I cover the news, and I had no idea of all the things that are happening in such an exciting way in my home county, feeding my home city and the region of the world that I care about most, Greater St. Louis, Illinois, in the state of Missouri. If you could please help me welcome Kyle Anderson from the Leadership Council to the podium to get our official program started. Thanks for being here.
So good afternoon and welcome to the second Global Aerospace Summit. I'm Kyle Anderson. I get the privilege of being the Executive Director of the Leadership Council of Southwestern Illinois. We represent the 9 counties on the Illinois side of the St. Louis MSA, and on behalf of myself, Weston, and Susan, the 3 people who make up the Leadership Council, we love doing it. We are so proud of our region, so proud of everything that you guys do as business leaders, government leaders, everything that we do here, we absolutely love it. So we are pleased to be hosting this with 3 amazing partners. Madison County is a great partner, St. Clair County, and I'm gonna get the title right or Mary will yell at me. Bi-State Development St. Louis Regional Freightway. So round of applause for those 3. And let me be the first to, if you haven't already, wish you a happy National Aviation Day. Who here knew it was? It's Aviation Day. I think it's Orville Wright's birthday today. So happy birthday, Orville. We kicked things off this morning with a career fair here at the Regency. It's still going on, but we did that in partnership with the Military Family Readiness Center at Scott Air Force Base. Huge partners of ours, and they do so much good work helping the transitioning military spouses, veterans, try to find employment here. That's the goal of the career fair, is to get our friends, our family who work at Scott Air Force Base to stay here in this great area that we call home. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Madison County Board Chairman Chris Flusser to say a few words.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at the 2026 Global Aerospace Summit. This summit has quickly emerged as a signature event in the aviation industry, and Madison County is proud to co-host it with our friends in St. Clair County. Given the tremendous lineup that Kyle just ran through, I'm confident that we will continue to deliver compelling content that promotes and expands the robust aerospace industry here in the greater St. Louis area and beyond. With a rich history deeply rooted in aviation innovation and production, the bi-state St. Louis region is home to 5 busy airports that are driving this region's economy, and to numerous global aerospace manufacturing and service companies and their providers and their suppliers. Collectively, they make up one of the top aerospace and aviation ecosystems in the nation. So Madison County is pleased to be part of that ecosystem. We are home to St. Louis Regional Airport, where Westar Aviation is one of its key tenants. Westar has been growing in recent years and has taken an innovative approach to building their own workforce, and that's something you'll learn about in one of the upcoming sessions. Our county also benefits from the presence of the countless veterans who have transitioned from the military and continue to choose to live here, and bolstering our workforce and contributing in numerous ways to our many communities. Region-wide, the aerospace industry supports high-quality careers, attracts investment, advances innovation, and creates opportunities for businesses of every size. Success comes through regional collaboration, and we've done that well here with industry, education, workforce development, military partners, and local governments all working together, as we can see in this room here today. And we work across county and state lines. That river isn't that big of a barrier as it might seem. And we create opportunities and solve challenges that we face. So here in Madison County, we recognize the future of this industry depends on developing the next generation of skilled workers and technicians, engineers, and innovators. And we are proud to support programs to connect talent to that opportunity. This summit reflects growing momentum, whether the conversation is about advanced manufacturing, unmanned aerial systems, maintenance and repair operations, sustainable aviation fuels, or defense technologies, this region is positioned to be part of that solution. So we have an estimated 200 attendees from across the United States and Canada and as far away as Korea that are registered for this year's summit, making it truly a global event and strengthening its position as a premier platform for industry collaboration. So we thank you for being here, we thank you for your contributions to the industry, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
So good afternoon, I'm Colonel Derek McLean. It is great to be with you because I live this every day. It's a privilege to help open the 2026 Global Aerospace Summit. I think it's going to be a spectacular opportunity for collaboration and discussions on the future of aerospace that include panels on autonomous platforms, cargo delivery, sustainable fuels, manufacturing, and dear to my heart, navigating the defense landscape. I want to say a special thanks to those that made the military career fair possible, because we need talented and motivated people to join our service. And thank you to the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center for hosting a fantastic opportunity to connect manufacturers with potential business partners. And finally, my favorite, the networking event at the racetrack this evening sounds awesome. So let me start by saying thank you to the Leadership Council, Southwestern Illinois. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks to everybody who brought us together. Thank you to the leaders from industry, government, academia, and our communities who spend to choose the next 2 days here in what I know will be an incredible journey of collaboration. I think the wide range of mission partners represented and collected in this room says something important about aerospace. America's aerospace advantage isn't just a platform. It's not just the next fighter, bomber, tanker, airlifter. Those things are important. But the real aerospace advantage is the community of people, many of you in this room, that make those platforms possible. Do you have any idea how cool you are? That's not a new idea. If you look across the history of American aerospace, our greatest breakthroughs have rarely belonged to a single organization. They happened when an operational problem met American ingenuity, who made it possible. It's an ecosystem, and that ecosystem remains one of the most difficult American advantages for any of our competitors to replicate. It's the engineer designing something that has never existed before, the machinist figuring out how to manufacture it. It's the small business that's willing to take a risk with a new technology. And it's the educator developing the workforce to build and sustain it. It's the companies willing to invest years and even decades developing a concept ahead of a requirement. And ultimately, from my view at AMC, it's the operators of that capability who take all those years of hard work and they employ it to maintain our warfighting advantage. From where I sit at Air Mobility Command, I get to see the output of that ecosystem every single day in combat. Our Air Mobility Command airmen are a global mobility force, delivering people and equipment almost anywhere on the planet, refueling the joint force in flight, shifting and lifting mountains of cargo in hours, and evacuate the wounded. Respond to humanitarian disasters, and we assure the security of our allies and partners. But here's what makes this moment in aerospace history just a little bit different. And I speak from experience here. The environment in which we're asking our airmen to go out and do those things is changing remarkably fast, and it's becoming increasingly contested. Technology is moving faster. Threats are evolving faster, and they're sometimes outpacing that technology. What seems like a good idea yesterday or even today, it might not be a good idea tomorrow. We've got to be more agile in our thinking. And I think that distinction is important. For much of our history, we could develop a capability, we could field it, and we could reasonably expect the assumptions behind it to remain valid for years and even decades. Increasingly, that's not the world we operate in. Today, the ability to adapt may be every bit as important as the capability we initially fielded. That changes how government thinks about requirements. It changes how industry designs systems. It changes how we think about software, open architectures, manufacturing, sustainment, and upgrades. So we shouldn't simply ask, what can this capability do when we field it? We've also got to be asking ourselves, how quickly can we change it when the world changes? Because adaptability itself is becoming a warfighting capability. Artificial intelligence, autonomy, advanced manufacturing, resilient communications, digital engineering, new materials. These aren't technologies waiting for us somewhere out there over the horizon. They're here today. They're changing what is possible. For Air Mobility Command, that means we're thinking differently about the aircraft and systems we already have and the aircraft that will come next. We're asking how they become more connected so that our airmen can observe, orient, decide, and act faster than the adversary. We're asking how our command and control infrastructure can digitally transform and leverage a common operating picture. We're asking how we can maintain our decision advantage both on the ground and in the air. We're asking how our platforms can become more survivable. What technologies allow us to sense a threat, process that threat, and defeat that threat in a contested environment. We're asking how we sustain our aircraft differently. Where are the opportunities to apply large language learning models to our maintenance enterprise? But most importantly, we're asking how we can get capability from the laboratory to the factory floor and into the hands of the warfighter faster. Those problems are not unique to us. They are not just Air Mobility Command problems. Those are aerospace problems. But I've got hope, because the people collected in this room represent the ecosystem to solve those problems. And that's particularly important here in the St. Louis region. Think with me for a moment about what that actually means in southwestern Illinois. Just a few miles from where we're sitting at Scott Air Force Base, it's home to Air Mobility Command and the United States Transportation Command, along with mission partners responsible for projecting and sustaining American military power around the globe. Just down the road at Mid-America St. Louis Airport, civil aviation, military operations, and a growing aerospace industrial base operate side by side. Boeing is building the MQ-25 Stingray here, taking autonomous air refueling from an idea through engineering and manufacturing toward an operational capability. Across this region, we have aerospace manufacturers, maintainers, suppliers, and small businesses. We have universities, community colleges, and technical programs developing engineers, technicians, and a skilled workforce that will build and sustain what comes next. And all of that, it sits within one of the great transportation crossroads of America, connected by air, highway, rail, and our inland waterways. Think about that combination. Operational problems, engineering talent, manufacturing capability, transportation infrastructure, education, entrepreneurship, and a workforce with generations of experience supporting American aviation and national defense. That's not just proximity. That's an aerospace ecosystem. And I believe the opportunity for southwestern Illinois isn't simply to participate in America's aerospace industry. It's to become one of the places where America's next aerospace advantage is created, to be a forerunner of the future. That combination is difficult to replicate. That combination of talents that's represented here in this room is one of America's great competitive advantages. Because when we look at the strategic environment today, the question we're asking is not whether the United States can innovate. We know we can do that. The harder question is whether we can innovate, manufacture, field, and adapt fast enough. That requires the government to be a better customer. It requires industry to continue challenging our assumptions. It requires large companies and small businesses to work together. It requires educators to prepare people for jobs that might not even exist today. And it requires all of us to be willing to rethink processes built for a different era. That's why gatherings like this one matter. The most important thing, at least from my experience at some conferences over the years, it probably won't happen on this stage. But it might happen out in the hallway. It might be a conversation between an engineer and an operator, between a small business and a prime, between an educator and an employer, between two people who look at the same problem from a different perspective, and they suddenly realize they can solve it together. That's how communities create advantage. So imagine for a moment what success could look like 10 years from now. Imagine that a technology discussed at this summit becomes capability flying on an aircraft. Imagine that a small business and Misa's first major partner here grows into an important supplier for the aerospace industry. Imagine that a young person who walked into the career fair today decides to pursue a career in aerospace, and a decade from now is the engineer, technician, airman, or entrepreneur solving a problem none of us in this room had imagined yet. That's the opportunity in front of us, and none of it happens automatically. It happens because people make connections. It happens because organizations take risk. It happens because someone is willing to challenge an assumption. And sometimes it happens because two people who need to meet simply ended up in the same room. So as we begin this summit, I challenge each of us to do three things. Please ask hard questions and challenge assumptions. Find somebody you don't normally work with and strike up a conversation. And spend a little less time talking about what aerospace looks like today and a lot more time imagining what it needs to become tomorrow. Because ultimately, the question for the next 2 days is not simply, what's next in aerospace? The more important question is how quickly can we build that together? I just want to say it's been an honor to be here with you all. Thank you, and I hope you have an outstanding summer.
It is my pleasure now to introduce two of our state lawmakers who have taken time out of their schedules today to be supportive of this summit and be here to discuss the importance of the aerospace sector for their districts. It would be very much a different job that they have if that wasn't something they were advocating for and trying to ensure that our state government was behind us every step of the way as we continue to plow ahead in the future and keep aerospace at the forefront of southwestern Illinois. Please welcome Illinois State Senator Erica Harris and State Representative Amy Ellick. Hi, guys.
Thank you. For the record, we do have to leave right after this. All right. So good afternoon. Thank you for having us. I'm State Senator Erica Harris. Happy Aviation Day. I can't think of a better place to celebrate, and what great timing by these groups organizing us to plan this today. Glad that we're right here in the Metro East talking about the future of aviation and aerospace. One of the greatest strengths that we have in the Metro East is our workforce. Scott Air Force Base brings incredible talent, experience, and leadership right here to our region, and we're very proud to have it here in our own backyard. We're also building the next generation of that workforce. We have Lewis and Clark, Southwestern Illinois College, The Cave, Madison County Workforce and Development, SIU, and programs at West Star Aviation, all creating new pathways for people to gain skills that they need and move directly into great careers. We're also working in Springfield. Representative Ellick and I were both chief co-sponsors in our respective chambers of legislation that expands opportunities to high school students to pursue career and technical education. That bill, which was Senate Bill 3070, was signed into law just 12 days ago. This matters because we want young people to know you don't have to leave the Metro East to have a great career and do very exciting and important work. You can build a career in aviation, advanced manufacturing, logistics, national defense, all right here in the Metro East at home. We already have an incredible foundation with Boeing, West Star, Gulfstream, and Scott Air Force Base, along with many other manufacturers and suppliers throughout the entire region. We now have an opportunity to build on that foundation, bringing in new partners, connecting suppliers with major companies, and creating even more opportunities for Illinois workers. We have the competitive advantage. We have the people, we have the location, and we have partnerships to help build on the future of aviation right here in the Metro East. So it's great to be with you today, and it's an honor to represent the 56th District in Springfield, and hope you have a great rest of your conference.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Amy Ellick, and I represent the 111th House District, which is just a little bit north of here within Madison County. So it's great to be here with you all today. And Senator Harris already talked about the incredible workforce that we have in the region, and she and I have been proud to work together in Springfield to strengthen career and technical education opportunities for the next generation. But I also want to be sure that I thank Kyle Anderson and the Leadership Council, as well as the Illinois Manufacturers Association, for leading on this issue in Springfield over the past several years and keeping it top of mind for us legislators. On a personal note, I have several family members who work in the aviation industry here in the St. Louis region, including at Boeing, and my 19-year-old son is currently pursuing his dream of becoming a commercial pilot at Southwestern Illinois Community College, so I'm personally grateful for the opportunities the aviation industry provides to families like mine throughout the Metro East. I was also happy to see the Fox 2 story last night that Boeing forecasts the need for 674,000 commercial pilots by 2045, so thank goodness for this mom. But for the local companies represented here today, your employees live throughout the Metro East, and we want to make sure that state policy allows them to stay in Illinois, work in Illinois, live here, and eventually retire. We are so lucky that our districts include Westar Aviation, St. Louis Regional Airport, Phillips 66 too, by the way, and other companies and facilities that are helping lead the aviation and manufacturing industries in their own way. Our region has a solid, established aviation and manufacturing ecosystem, and we want to keep it that way. Our job at the state level is to make sure Illinois is positioned to compete for the next investment, the next expansion, and the next good-paying job. That means supporting policies that allow businesses to compete and grow right here in Illinois, rather than watching those jobs move to another state. And I know the chairman said that we do cooperate with Missouri, but we are also very proud when people choose Illinois. But it means creating new opportunities for our small and mid-sized manufacturers too. There are companies throughout Illinois with the talent and capabilities to supply this industry. Sometimes they just need the opportunity to get in the door. As you know, we also have geography on our side. From the Metro East, companies can make it here, move products from here, and reach customers across the country and around the world. So thank you again for having us here today. It's been a pleasure to serve you in Springfield.
It's my absolute privilege to represent the 18,000 plus aerospace workers that Boeing has in the region. By the way, 2,500 of those live locally here in Illinois. And as we launched the Muscuda facility, this has been a really big investment and push forward as we expand aerospace in the region. So I couldn't be more excited to be here and show you and tell you what we're doing. You know, I think I have the coolest job in the world because I get the privilege to lead the U.S. Navy's most advanced autonomous airplane. But I will say the colonel's job rivals mine even better because he first and foremost gets to employ systems like this. And as I think about what we do here in the community and as we support aviation, it is really supporting an aerospace mission. And that mission starts with, are we employing the right technology and do we have the right skill set of workers to deliver capability to keep our troops safe and out of harm's way. And what's really unique about the MQ-25 that's being built right here is the fact that it's not a small drone. If you look at this and you look at the size reference, it's the size of an F-18 Super Hornet. It is the wingspan of an E-2D. It's 51 feet long, 75 feet wide. It is 55,000 pounds of aero refueling power that the United States Navy is employing. And that's all happening right here at Muscuda, where we've loaded the first set of airplanes. And so you guys, from a supply base to a workforce to a community, should be hugely proud of what this thing has accomplished. And I hope you recognize those pictures. I mean, that takes off out of Mid-America Airport, flies right over the skies. And that represents every first flight that we will ever do on MQ will happen right here at Muscuda Mid-America Airport. So that's just phenomenal work. So thank you for all this work. Hey, so what is an MQ-25? An MQ-25, like I said, is the most advanced aero refueling or autonomous drone that will live on a United States aircraft carrier. From a technology standpoint, it has to find the US carrier anywhere in the world, 365 days a year, all weather, and safely land and perform its mission. That is no unstoppable feat. But most importantly, what it does is it more than doubles the tactical range of the United States Navy. So when I think about showing up and what I tell our teams in support of the mission, we support the world's best fighters here in St. Louis. We build the world's best fighters on the other side of the river. Our job here is to go refuel those fighters and put those fighters back in the fighter mission. If you're familiar with US Navy mission set, today we use F-18 Super Hornets to do this mission. We've got to put those Super Hornets back in the strike fighter role they were always intended to be in, to put that air power back in the hands of our military partners and get the refueling mission onto autonomous airplanes, which is perfectly designed to extend the reach and go into places that we don't want to send our sailors, but also keep our sailors out of harm's way by doubling the extension from the threat of where they are. So critical to US Navy's air wing in the future. Since we were awarded this program in 2018, we've had a lot of series of milestones. We flew the prototype very quickly in 2019. We set a world record in 2022, or 2021, when we autonomously refueled an aircraft for the first time ever. And just recently in this year, we flew the first fully operational airplane that was sitting over at Mid-America finishing test and is about to deploy into the rest of naval test. That will be the United States Navy's first operational aircraft. And so that's a major milestone. What that's enabled for the community, for the factory, and for us is all those milestones and achievements that you all are a part of as part of the community has enabled Milestone C to happen. If you're not familiar with Milestone C, it's the criteria that the US government uses to say a program is ready for low-rate initial production. So when we think about base, when we think about stability, when we think about future work, what we have been progressing through this technology is to come out of engineering, manufacturing, development, like the Colonel said, and get this program to a state that the government is sure that we've got the requirements right and it's going to field appropriately so that we can enter a low-rate initial production. And successfully in March of this year, we came into that milestone and the Department of War signed that milestone. That puts stability through the production base for years to come as we continue to grow the footprint at Mid-America and grow that capability out of here. So we're proud to call Muscuda home. The Mid-America's runways and taxi access make the flight testing over here far easier than any other place. It also, the state of Illinois have been strong partners from the very beginning of this. The city of Muscuda, the county, and all the board, and we thank you for that. Over the past decade, Boeing has invested over $2 billion in facilities in the Metro East area and continue to do so with future wins that you see on the other side of the river. That also impacts and flows over to here. We've put over $200 million in the facility that's building MQ-25 Stingray. The facility supports up to 15 aircraft a year, and we are eventually working with the Navy to get ourselves up to rate and make sure all those aircraft come home and deliver to the Navy as times and budgets go. So for my state senators who left, we all want to tell our state senators and our representatives to continue to do that progress as we work through our typical funding streams. And you heard the Colonel say, that acquisition process is key to continue to work through. We've ramped production, driving growth in the local high-skilled jobs with technicians, system integrators, software, and autonomy engineers. We've leveraged the St. Louis talent pipeline and regional suppliers. And if you're a supplier in the room, I really would encourage you to engage with us. As we look at the global growth of aerospace, the risk that we have to continue to burn down in aerospace across the board, you heard the demand signal on pilots, is we've got to have great suppliers that deliver on time, on schedule, so that we can get these airplanes out the door and into the customer's hands. And I'd be remiss to say, if it wasn't a supply base that feeds us as a prime that then delivers to the customer. So as we ramp steadily into LREV, we'll start to increase production at Mascuda with more aircraft and more production flow, which will just mean more hiring and great training across the St. Louis region. And so in closing, I want you to leave with a few things. Southwestern Illinois is building the future of U.S. naval aviation. It is critical to U.S. Navy's air wing of the future. It is critical to integrating autonomy and front-running that into the United States Navy on the aircraft carrier. It makes us a critical hub for unmanned and autonomous aviation, strengthens national security while delivering long-term economic growth and opportunity for our communities. The program is already reshaping Illinois. The economic and technological landscape bring high-quality jobs in engineering, software, systems integration, and more to the greater St. Louis region. And the MQ-25 is unmatched, unmanned, and unstoppable force that extends the carrier wing's reach, control, and effectiveness while laying the foundation for seamless integration to the future unmanned systems on the carrier deck. I'm grateful for the partnership of the Global Aerospace Summit, our Navy teammates, local leaders, and talented workforce making MQ-25 possible. Together, we're advancing national security, creating high-quality jobs, and building a lasting aerospace legacy. Thank you.